solid sandstone, and there were no machines. And, men, one by one, like, look at how big some of these rocks are. Like, put these. And, I hear contractors now complain of the work that they have to do and how hard it is with machines. I think, what was the work like back in the day, They can't make buildings like this anymore.
I don't think it's too much of a stretch to believe that buildings have a spirit. Or that buildings have a soul. And that even though buildings are inanimate constructions, they're still capable of behaving in ways that seem almost human. Well, this is the story of one of those buildings. A hotel and cafe in Hot Springs, South Dakota. And now the soul of that building helped me to make sure that eventually I would find the soul of a very different building. A building that 24 hours ago, I was worried I'd never get a chance to visit, because I'd never be able to find it. I stayed the night at the Flatiron Hotel in Hot Springs, South Dakota, before driving to Badlands National Park. And right as I'm about to leave, I strike up a conversation with the girl at the front desk, a girl named Georgia, because I wondered if maybe I could ask the owner a few questions about the building. Well, Georgia's curious about why. And so we talk about what I'm doing and about this series of videos and about how I had only stopped in Hot Springs on a whim and about what else I planned on seeing when I was in South Dakota. So I start telling her about this other building. This building located about 150 miles east of Hot Springs on the campus of Synchronicity University. But I tell her that the problem is I'd be hitting the road shortly and I still hadn't figured out exactly where the building is or how to get there. Well, I tell her I'm worried that if it takes me too long to find it, I might have to skip it. Well, she tells me she's surprised I'm not going to go see Mount Rushmore, and we talk about that, but suddenly she cuts herself off in mid-sentence to let me know that the owner just sat down in the cafe. Well, the owner's name is Kara, she says. She's the blonde woman who just sat down at the counter. And so a few minutes later, I sit down and talk with Kara, mainly because I'm curious about the history of the building, but also about creating the business model of a hotel with its own coffee roaster and cafe.
Well, I guess I've always felt that this building was really special, that it had a heart. I fell in love with the building when I saw it. Spent a lot of nights walking around the building and listening to the intention or the direction of what it wanted to be. It sounds kind of crazy, but...
No, talk about that.
So it kind of unfolds, I'm just walking around visually, watching it unfold, realizing I'm not going to paint the woodwork. That's not what this building is calling out for. It's old, it's original, it should look old, original. The more I talked to the local people and the more time that I spent in the building, I really felt like this town needed a place where the community could gather. It sounds silly, but it kind of created itself then. I talked about the energy of this building before. I think every building and everywhere you are has a certain energy to it. This building was really different. It had a very special energy about it. It was old. It had a lot of history. I found people's initials and dates written here and there in the basement, just their signatures, because they were part of the crew, the contractors that built this wall. And, and it was probably somebody's great-great-great-grandfather, that did work on this building, and it carries a lot of history for people in this town. It used to be called the Gibson House, where they used to have passengers come off of the train, and they used to come into this Gibson House, and Mrs. Gibson basically ran this place by herself. She had to do everything, so she had a little German kitchen in the basement, and she fed people that came off the train in the point room, and she just house people for the evenings, and it was just a rooming house. That's what it was for many years. I'm like the fourth owner of the building. For the building to be that old, 1911, and for me to be just the fourth owner, I think is pretty, pretty special. I find out later that the owners of the building have all been women. And it all falls into play with all these other synchronistic things that have happened in the process of experiencing this project unfold for me. I love it. I hate it sometimes, but I mostly love it.
Go ahead.
My name is Kara Hagen, and I'm the owner of the Flatiron building here in Hot Springs, South Dakota.
Georgia and I chat for a few minutes more, but before I go speak with Kara, she stops me in the doorway. By the way, you mentioned going to Syntek Leska, Georgia says. My cousin studies art there. How about I give her a call and see if maybe she can show you around campus? Well, I know that she can see my face light up, and immediately Georgia picks up her cell phone and dials her cousin Lisa. I find myself pondering the chances that, given all the places I could have stopped after leaving Laramie, that possibly I stopped in the one town, with the one hotel, with the one girl at the front desk with a cousin who, as it turns out, is more than happy to show me around campus. You see, the way I see it, encountering Georgia, and then meeting her cousin, well, these things may never have occurred had I not thought that there was something special about the Flatiron building. Well, this is why it came as a bit of a surprise when Kara wrapped up our conversation about the Flatiron by explaining that the building seems to inspire synchronicity. The way she explains it, events seem to occur in sync with the building, too many for her to write them off as chance. And given how lucky I felt meeting Georgia, given the amount of kindness extended to a total stranger, I agreed with her. And if ultimately the soul of the building is responsible for a remarkable chance encounter, well, then I'm happy to oblige. Of course, the alternative is doing what I've been doing so far, which is blaming any good fortune on the hula girl stuck to the dashboard. Chance and good fortune, well, these become my themes for South Dakota. Eventually I'll meet Georgia's cousin, her best friend, and her husband. And it just so happens that her husband happens to work in the building I came to see. And it turns out that all of us have questions about the building. And so it seemed like the best person to ask is the architect himself.
How did it begin?
Music, please! Yeah! You wanna know the reason? You wanna know the reason? The reason is we gotta have those guidelines. I'ma break the guidelines. I'ma move the barriers. I'ma cross over the barricade. And we gotta have balance. The reason is balance. The reason is everything gotta be weighed out and smoothed out and be in perfect harmony with each other. You know what I'm saying? The energy gotta be there. You know what I'm saying? The reason is the hurt. The reason is the hold. The walls, the windows, they got eyes, they got ears. The Jabberwocky, the test of the manhood. We got the grandfather clock. We gotta have time. We gotta have the reason. We gotta know the march. We gotta know about the faces, face to faces. We gotta have the hunt. The hunter has to die. The hunted has to die. So we have the thief in the night. We gotta have the thief. The reason is the thief. The reason is it's all human language.